Nobody could have predicted that when this poor kid started tinkering with engines, he would one day create the most expensive cars in the world. Frederick Henry Royce was born in Wilton, England in 1863. His mom and dad, Mary and James, owned and operated a flour mill. James followed in his father's footsteps, but he missed business skills, and the Royce family lived in poverty for many years. Things worsened, and they were forced to declare bankruptcy in 1867. The family relocated to London in the hopes of making a better life for themselves. Henry, 4 years old at the time, had his first job as a bird scarer on a nearby farm. His weekly wage was 6 pence. You're watching the YouTube channel Big Company Business. In today's video, we will talk about Rolls Royce business success. After Henry's father died in 1872, all of the children, including 9-year-old Henry, had to pitch in to make ends meet. He started by selling newspapers and delivering telegrams. Henry's younger years of poorness had a profound impact on him, and by the age of 15, he had finished only 1 year of school. As a young teen, he began as an apprentice at the Great Northern Railway. Henry took every opportunity he had to educate himself, learning algebra, French, and electrical engineering in his free time, but he was forced to leave his apprenticeship after 3 years because of a lack of funds. Henry worked briefly at a tool-making workshop in Leeds after leaving his apprenticeship, and then went to work for the London Electric Light and Power Company. He did, however, co-found a business with his engineer buddy Ernest Claremont when he was 22 years old. They decided to name it F.H. Royce & Company, and worked around the clock for the next few years to manufacture electrical components like doorbells and dynamos. Henry's interest began to draw him away from the business and elsewhere: motor vehicles. While Henry Royce is an important figure in the Rolls Royce story, the brand's name also refers to Charles Stewart, who was born in 1877 in London's well-off Berkeley Square. Charles Rolls, Lord and Lady Langata Caving's youngest child, showed an early interest in engineering and proceeded to study mechanical engineering at Trinity College in Cambridge. Charles was the very first student to own a car, after having to travel to Paris at the young age of 18 to acquire a Peugeot. This was remarkably uncommon at the time because most people had never even heard of automobiles. He named his business C.S. Rolls & Company, and for the following years, he focused on selling and importing Peugeot and Minerva cars. Charles put the money toward his athletic pursuits. He was an enthusiastic aviator, in addition to being an enthusiastic driver, pioneer, and racer. As you might expect, none of these pastimes are cheap. Unfortunately for Charles, his personal passion would cost him more than just money. It will cost him his life. He desired more, so he made the decision to construct his own car. Henry had an inner drive for greatness, and after finding flaws in de Cauville's construction, he pledged to do better. He designed and built his first petrol engine by the end of 1903, and the following year, he ran his first Royce 10-horsepower motor car into the town. Henry had founded the company 2 decades earlier. Henry Edmunds was a Royce's shareholder as well as a friend of Rolls. After purchasing one of Royce's vehicles, he begins telling Rolls about it. Rolls was frustrated at the time because his company could only sell foreign imports, so Edmunds arranged for a meeting. Edmunds had no idea that the meeting would go to change the future of motoring forever. Since Rolls had always preferred 3- and 4-cylinder automobiles, Royce's 2-cylinder vehicle made an instant impression on him. He realized he'd found literally what he was looking for. He drove the vehicle and did agree on the place to sell as many automobiles as Royce could construct. For starters, there was a huge age gap between the two men, as well as a class gap in education. When the functions were cast, Royce was 41 years old, Rolls was 26 years old, and received a prestigious education at Trinity College, while Royce's abilities were largely self-taught. Royce had worked hard, while Rolls had spent his youth racing around in expensive cars. While Henry Royce and Charles Rolls were very different people, they also made an excellent team, and the massive success of their cars resulted in the formation of the Rolls-Royce Company in 1906. Within a year, the 6-cylinder Silver Ghost was released. It was dubbed the world's best car. They will also have a Rolls partner to advertise for this. Creating a brand presupposes a vision, so while Henry and Charles were busy building and selling automobiles, Charles' partner was to thank. Johnson, who was appointed managing director, understood the significance of expanding the company's image in the press. As a result, he set up a set of action sequences to promote Rolls-Royce motor cars. In one of his early advertisements, he promoted the 40 to 50 horsepower vehicle as the 6-cylinder Rolls-Royce, Not one of the best, but the greatest car in the world. With that ad, Claude coined a phrase that would become synonymous with Rolls Royce. It was extremely effective, demonstrating Rolls Royce's superior performance and creating a global demand for their world-class construction. Claude was so important to the business's growth that he soon became known as the Rolls Royce hyphen. Of course, advertising can only get you so far, so both Henry and Charles were committed to providing the highest quality possible, especially Henry, who had a talent for urging himself to the limit at work. Henry was known as a hard worker who never ate properly. Unfortunately, these habits severely affected his health, but surprisingly, he would end up outliving his business partner Charles by a couple of decades. Charles' fascination with aviation grew over time. He even tried to get Henry to design an aero engine, but Henry chose to abandon his aviation dreams. In 1910, Charles purchased a Wright Flyer aircraft and flew over 200 times. He was the first person to fly non-stop all over the English Channel twice. But everything changed just 1 month later. Charles died in an air crash during a flying exhibit in Bournemouth. He was just 32 at the time. He was the first British individual to die in a plane crash, and his untimely death signaled the end of the Rolls-Royce partnership. Henry would have to carry out their legacy alone. Henry had a natural work ethic, and his innovative designs helped Rolls-Royce establish a renown for superior engineering and quality. To put it another way, he was steadfast in his determination to create the best design possible by utilizing just the highest quality materials and the top levels of craftsmanship. In everything you do, strive for perfection. Take the best that already exists and design it to be better. During World War I, the group grew into manufacturing aero engines, which Charles had requested, and the company did incredibly well for the next few decades. Unfortunately, Henry's health continued to deteriorate, and he died in 1993 from digestive tract problems. His death was caused by his childhood malnutrition and a lifetime of overwork. He would have spent much of his final years as a semi-invalid, but even that didn't stop him from working. His unwavering enthusiasm and dedication to engineering won out, and he worked until the very end. His final sketch was completed on his deathbed, just hours before he died. He was 70 years old. Rolls-Royce is still a household name in the engineering world. Rolls-Royce is one of the most successful luxury car brands, and the brand is well known outside of the United Kingdom, with over 130 dealerships in 40 countries. BMW currently owns Rolls-Royce, and the business is still primarily associated to the most expensive cars in the world, such as the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Ghost, Phantom, Wraith, and Dawn. Torsten Müller-Tövös has been the CEO since 2010, and his reign has been vital to the company's success. But Sir Henry Royce and Sir Charles Rolls' vision has made Rolls-Royce what it has become today, an icon of pure and unadulterated fortune. It's easy to say that the two would be very proud. That's all for today's video. Which Rolls-Royce model do you love the most? Tell us in the comment section below. Big Company Business will be back next week. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.